Hello, everybody out there. This is Robin Deschamps, 8997. Let's get right to the point. This is my little marathon. I know I really would like to talk about an hour or so, but that's my own personal record. And I was looking at some of my old videos and how forceful I was talking for the first time. We're going to get right down to it. Traveling, specifically traveling by airplane, jet plane. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, just a little bit, and then I'm going to get off into me, probably, and whoever comes online, someone else comes online, greatly appreciated. Talk about anything you want. 1981. That is one pivotal year, 1981. I just started traveling a little bit more at that time. I actually started traveling a little bit before that, but on my own as a single person. Being married once before, but I was traveling more so on my own. But 1981, they had the air traffic controller strike. And a lot of people were affected by airlines because I believe around 7 to 9,000 flights were canceled. That was a really big deal back then because that's the first time that I ever witnessed anything like that in my entire life, and probably you have too. I have four of them here, four crucial time periods leading up to today. Air controller strike. They were fired, laid off, whatever. They had to find jobs. I think one or two of them started working with me when I was with AT&T back in the day. So they had to find jobs, not quite as prestigious, but people were being affected. And something is going on here. What happened? Hopefully, nothing. Boy, that's strange. Mm, mm, mm. My goodness. Have I been cut off? I don't know what's wrong with this. 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 Let me get off of that. Probably have to cancel this broadcast after all. Hello, everybody out there. This is am I back? 6:51. No, and that's not what I wanted. Where's my virtual background? Well, it seems as though I am still live. I don't know what that was about. Is it time to get a new computer? Is it trying to mess up my marathon here? Like I said, 1981, air traffic controllers. Planes were being canceled all over the place, over 7,000. 1992, the LA riots. And yes, I was affected by the LA riots. Almost been in the riots by a couple of days, catching the bus on Florence. In a couple of days, I was supposed to go on vacation for at least a couple of weeks. I had to catch the bus back home because I used to work the midnight shift. And in a couple of days, I was able to catch the bus to work the next day. I probably still got paid for that day. But once I got to work, my intention was to take an airline flight in 1991. I couldn't get a cab at that time. The shuttle, the blue shuttle, it was blue, I forget the name of it. But I finally got to the airport from my late stepfather. He was kind of afraid. Smoke was in the air at canceled flights. I managed to get the flight to my destination, but I don't know how much smoke affected flights back then, but there was hardly an excuse not to fly, even though a lot of rioting was going on in Hollywood, where I used to work, trying to get up out of here and travel. I'm talking about the LA riots, 1991. I ain't talking about the one before. 2001, 911. I was affected by that one too. I was getting ready to go to Hawaii, specifically Honolulu. All the planes were grounded. Every last one of them. But within 4 or 5 days, they started lifting the flights. Actually, about I think the fourth day, and I think I finally got my flight because I wasn't supposed to leave, but on a Tuesday. So I finally got my flight in and I enjoyed my vacation in Honolulu. 2001. 2020, COVID. Flights were being affected by that also. They're afraid to put people on board. All kinds of crazy things happening on up until today. Not only a lot of flights were being canceled, but other modes of transportation was being canceled. What can you really say about it? I think because of all those things and COVID is still going on, I think the airlines have become complacent in wanting to cancel just to be canceling. Now, of course, some things I guess you really do have to cancel, but if there's a will, there's a way. They always talk about losing money, business is business, and then all of a sudden they need help from the US government to survive, to pay their employees. I thought my flight was going to be canceled. I thought my ship in New York was going to be canceled because I had to fly there. Now, I did miss the plane. I'm not going to say it's totally my fault, but they didn't really say it out loud or clear about changing my flight 2 or 3 times. However, I don't think these people really care anymore. Because if you're an elderly person or a person who can't walk or your wheelchair, now I'm not talking about elderly people who can walk well and all that stuff, because it really doesn't matter if you're elderly or not elderly. I mean, you could be 25 years old. What happened to the times where you can, if your flight is canceled, you can rebook a flight right where you're at? And even though I walked across the aisle to see if I can take that flight, which was going to the same place, New York, I had to walk all the way to Bradley Terminal and back. And I got that flight. But I had to walk all the way to Bradley Terminal. This is with American Airlines. And walk all the way back. Do they really care about customer service? Because whether they change your flights or flights are canceled, customer service is going down in a small way. But now it's a big way. Southwest Airlines, who basically maintain the South region. I really hate to call them that, but I guess I have to call them the Greyhound of airlines, okay? Even though bus travel has markedly went down, I just don't understand how these people could have a working business partnership with the people that pays the tickets. There is some sort of either mental breakdown within the business plan of the company when something like that happens. Now, we know flights have been canceled for many years because of snow. But how come all the planes down there are being canceled? It doesn't make any sense at all. Not one bit. I don't understand it. So to me, when I watch the news and I watch how sad and ridiculous these excuses are, then there's no way that anyone can make amends. You got to kiss someone's butt in order to get to where you got to go. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's really sorry, and I think it really tells you what direction we're going as human beings. Because we're not helping our fellow man travel. Travel with as least words you can, because I know back in the day, many of us traveled, there was no words at all. When you go on vacation, you really go on vacation. But now when you go on vacation, it's stress. It's stress getting all these papers together. It's very stressful. And that's what takes the fun out of travel. And I can see why a lot of people don't want to travel anymore. Because they're all up in your business. Of course, they're supposed to know some of your business, but I mean, they're going beyond past your business. I mean, it gets to the point where they're following you right to the bathroom, okay? But by the time you come out, you don't know where your plane is. You don't know who and what. I'm not going to blame anybody who works for the airline or any other travel agencies like that, because it's the system itself. But, however, should I say, if a person walks up to a ticket agent, we know what the real reason is. You don't have to tell a lie. You don't have to tell anything. Just say you don't know, because they won't tell us. And even if they did tell you, it probably is a lie in the first place. All those people flying, they don't know if they're going to get their money back. Well, I think you should get your money back whether it's a refundable ticket or not, if the flights are actually canceled like that, period. So I don't know what they do. I always get a refundable ticket, and you should always get insurance. Now, let's talk about something else. And I hope this broadcast is good because I will delete it even after hour if I don't like it, and I'll redo the whole thing. Right? I definitely will. But yeah, I'm still searching. I'm still searching for content, but I can only work within my own stream level. Being a working person, I know I have to say that constantly all the time. Especially if you just now join me or if you ever see this broadcast later. In my position, you really cannot worry about subscribers or views or anything, but you do want to see what's best for your stream, what's best for your YouTube. Everybody wants to do better. Everybody wants to learn how to do certain things better than they did the day before. And sometimes we have to keep doing the same things until we get it right or perfect ourselves in some kind of way. I don't know why people do what they do. But just like I said in the last few videos, you still got to be happy within yourself because a lot of things are not going to work the way you want, including traveling, going from A to B, regardless of what transportation mode that you use. Still, the car is better, but the car can't go from one country to the next. The train is pretty good, but the train's a little bit too slow and you need more time. But it's a good way to travel. And it doesn't go to every city you want to go to. You still would have to rent a car at some point. You still have to either drive your own car at some point. You still have to rely on somebody at some point, no matter where you go. And it doesn't have to be a relative. There are many, many myriad of things that can keep a person from traveling. And most what I see that's keeping people from traveling is the system itself. The business plan that these people have is not conducive to stockholders, which we know. Even the government can't really intervene in someone else's business plan if it's actually failing at some point. And usually when it does fail on a different spin, we know that it's from the top. And when it gets down to us, we're pretty pissed off. Other than that, I would like to continue on. Maybe start a second channel. However, I know it probably would take too much out of me, and that's why I keep everything on one channel. I could be more controversial. I know that I'm keeping everything on the light mode, on the square mode. talking square instead of talking over the top. Because it's easy to talk over the top if you know what I'm talking about. Talking over the top to me, I'm just using that word right now because I don't know what other word to use. It's a lot of language. I'm sure most is good with a lot of language. But one thing we know for sure, if you like traveling and you're being prevented to go wherever you want to go on this earth, there is a reason for it, whether we like it or not. So while we still can, we should try to enjoy ourselves when we can. We shouldn't be complacent. Just as well as those businesses that's supposed to serve us shouldn't be so complacent that they forget about service to the people. Because we know they won't be able to survive, period, without paying customers. And regardless, it's still a minority of people who travel in the first place. And we, the people, are the ones who have to come up with the money, save up as much as we can just to enjoy ourselves. Some people know how to travel down. When I say travel down, I mean they spend less money. They know how to do this. And some of us do not. Some of us have to stay in the best hotel, get the first class ticket, eat in first class restaurants, and every now and then break down and go to a hamburger stand. Well, anyway, this is Robert Deschamps. This broadcast, depending on what it looked like to me, if it's any good at all to me, because I am a lone person, I can talk, but a lot of YouTubers like to do it themselves. And of course, I am open to coordinating with someone else eventually, maybe. If not, that'll be fine. Because I have a funny way of thinking myself, even if it's the same thing that you're thinking about. Even if I talk funny to some and not to others, whether you relate to me or someone else, it does not matter one bit. It's the voice, it's the initiative, and it's the confidence to give others who are less fortunate, even in not being afraid to present themselves in this sort of social media. And with that in mind, this is Robin Deschamps. I'll talk to you in my next video. I'll see how the interruption is. If it's any other kind of eruption, I will put it in private mode and go from there. Talk to you later, folks, and I'll see you in my next video.